Hi.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How are you?
Excellent, thank you. I'm doing very well. And that was a great live coding session by Jay. So
for sure.
Congratulations, that was fantastic. And actually, he did a fantastic job of setting up my talk. So you know, it's fantastic. So let me just share my screen, and then I'll say a few words on how it leads into what I'm going to talk about.
Sure. And before that, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Well, let me just share my screen quickly, and then I'll talk about myself for just a second. Sure.
So Santosh is from EOS Node One, who did a real great job on the conference that was held in Korea.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. It was the entire team, the EOS Node One team, that put in a lot of effort to make that conference happen. And also thank you to the Korean BP community, as well as the worldwide support that we received from a lot of BPs. And in fact, I'll say a few words about that as well. So just to briefly introduce myself, my name is Santosh Kumaraswamy, and I'm one of the co-founders of EOS Node One. We are a BP based in Seoul, South Korea. We are a paid BP, standby BP. When we launched, we were in the top 10 or so, and since then our ranking has changed. But I'm super excited to be talking to you today about how we at EOS Node One help DApps to succeed. So to give you a very concrete example of what we're trying to do there, I'll talk to you about how a DEX called DEX-EOS recently launched and what EOS Node One did to help them. Is everybody able to see my presentation as well, Orchid?
We can see it clearly. Okay,
excellent. So just a few words about what DEX-EOS is. By the way, we don't have any financial relationship with DEX-EOS. We obviously support the community, and meaning we, as in we EOS Node One, don't have a financial relationship with DEX-EOS. So DEX-EOS is a completely decentralized exchange. What does that mean? Well, that means that just out of your own wallet, you can directly conduct a transaction on the network. In a traditional exchange, you really take your assets and you put it into the exchange, and then you run transactions, you run trades from that account. In a DEX, you're able to run transactions directly from your wallet, and so it's completely decentralized. And of course, one of the other fantastic features of being a DEX is that you can observe in real time all the transactions that are going on the EOS mainnet, and I'll show you how you can do that in this case for DEX-EOS as well. So coming back to my original comment that Jay's presentation really set us up for this talk. Well, how did it do that? Well, what Jay talked about was how you can have a smart contract running on chain, but of course he also mentioned that you might need some front-end UI to be able to interact with the smart contract. Think of it as maybe an app. You have an app on a mobile phone. Oh, I'm going to place an order. You pick your, EOS account, and then you pick the order items that you want to send, and then you hit a button, and then that app then sends the transaction to the smart contract, and the smart contract does its magic on the back end. Now, think of it as, if it was only one person placing an order, that's great. You can do what you need to do and move on. But if once you have 10,000 or 10 million users on your food app, obviously you need to have sufficient hardware on the back end to be able to very quickly transact with the with the blockchain. And of course we have to also define what quickly means. But we'll save that for later, maybe, and maybe some people will have some questions on that, and there are specific issues there as well. So what does, in that context, what we at EOS Node One are providing is the hardware and the software, that is the API nodes that are running on the back end, that enable 10 million users or 100 million users placing orders, in this case on the DEX, to be successfully sent to the blockchain and executed on the blockchain. So the DEX users are all relying on the EOS Node One API infrastructure, the API nodes, to be able to send transactions and then receive confirmations and have the smart contract to obviously execute what it needs to do. And that piece happens on the actual top 21 block producers who are actually running that piece, but we are an integral piece of sending the data to the smart contracts to be executed. So from their perspective, that is from a DEX perspective, what they need is scalable infrastructure, meaning if you have 100 users now, that's great, but if you have 10 million users in a month from now, the infrastructure needs to be able to scale to provide the appropriate responsiveness to their queries and to their requests. So we need scalable infrastructure. We need it to be reliable, meaning you can't have nodes crash, and of course you also want low latency. And this latency is not, there are many different terms on the blockchain that we call latency. What we're trying to optimize here for is just the latency between their end users and our node, so that there's not a lot of time. Imagine if you created a node, perhaps in the US, and your traffic will have to go all the way from Korea to the US and then come back, and that network latency itself is pretty long. Forgetting about the load on the API server that introduces its own latency, and then there is the blockchain latency itself, which is a separate matter altogether. So we very quickly defined what they need. They need scalable infrastructure that needs to be reliable, and it has to have low latency, so that DEX users can actually transact on the network. So at this point, many people may not have seen how a DEX looks. So I just want to do a quick video. Hopefully that will come through when I press the play button. So what's happening right now is you're seeing the order book on the back end. You selected a scatter identity, and then you're actually placing an order for IQ. And it's as simple as the 3 steps that you saw just now. And once you do that, the interesting thing is you can actually go on chain, use any block explorer, in this case blocks.io, and you'll be able to see the DEX EOS wallet, and you'll be able to actually see the transaction that you just placed. Interestingly, this transaction, obviously, the screen capture was done when it was still not in the LIB, so irreversible is still no. But eventually, when LIB catches up, you're there, and you can take a look at that. So let me continue with the rest of the demo. And I'm just putting my mouse over the View Transactions Online link on the bottom right, just to show you that interested people can just go on to any block explorer and take a look at the DEX EOS wallet to see all the transactions that are happening live right now on chain. Okay, so we know what a DEX is at this point, and we want to go on with our presentation. So what is EOS Node One, and what do we do, and how we're helping them? So the rest of my talk is just based around that concept. So like I introduced, we are a block producer based in Seoul, one of the top Korean BPs, and our ranking has been changing, but we are proud of what we've been able to accomplish. We have state-of-the-art cloud and bare metal infrastructure that is able to scale, auto scale, and and of course has proven so far to be secure and stable. And from our achievements perspective, we, like Orchid mentioned earlier on, we organized the EOS Community Conference 2018 and attracted almost 400 people to the conference in Seoul. This was July 19th, 20th, and 21st, and it was fantastic to see everybody live and meet everybody live, and thank you for supporting that. on our own end at EOS Node One, we have done a fantastic job of reaching out to the Korean community. There are a lot of people who are excited about EOS in the Korean community, as you guys know. In fact, estimates say somewhat about 30–40% of the transactions on EOS come from Korea right now. We have built a very strong, engaged community, almost a 5,000 plus EOS holders within our Telegram channels. On the technology side, we built the EOS Water app for iOS. We recently launched a EOS account creation service. And also, on thought leadership front, we have made several technical proposals to reduce RAM squatting, equipment rewards-based BP compensation models, so that BPs, especially the ones lower down in the ranking, are able to maintain very good infrastructure, which is necessary for the health of the entire EOS EOS chain in the long run. And also we have we have actually data analysts on our team, and we have been analyzing how BP rewards are working right now, how voting patterns are working, and we have received a lot of good feedback on that front. So moving on. So I mentioned the EOS Community Conference. I just want to again thank all the all the participants and all the sponsors. EOS Nation, Authority, and Crypto Alliance did a fantastic job of helping us out, along with all the others. And it's too many to read out here, but I just wanted to give everybody a sense for how big of a conference this was. This is a screenshot of the actual conference. It was great to meet everybody. People all the way from Argentina spending 48 hours on planes actually came on over. So thank you for making that happen. And of course, we also had Brock Pierce address the conference, so we're thankful for that. So coming back to the topic that we were talking about, how does this happen in terms of supporting the DApps? The DApps are sitting out here and they want to send transactions to the chain. For us, what is most important is that we provide API nodes that are highly performant and scalable, and are able to record transactions onto the chain and send back responses. So we do that with an auto-scaling infrastructure. We have full nodes running upwards of 192 GB of RAM. Of course, our producer nodes are actually much more locked away. And they haven't had a chance to do anything as yet because we haven't been one of the producers, but our producer nodes feature well over 256 GB of RAM and are very sufficient for the needs for the upcoming 2 years at least. So in the DEX-EOS collaboration, they were looking for latencies sub 10 milliseconds. They looked around. They chose us for launching their service, and we are very thankful for that. We did some quick checks to see what the transaction rates were when the DEX launched. It was about 3,700 transactions per second, and we are very confident that the infrastructure that we have right now will be able to handle that easily. Looking forward, though, in any DApp that comes on board, you can obviously use one of the public APIs, API servers to launch or even beta test your services. But eventually, when you reach mass adoption, you need to start thinking about your own API servers, and that's important because what you're really looking for is very good responsiveness to your end users. And in fact, this is a topic that is just today is being discussed, for scatter as well. Nathan was talking about just this fact. So at Node One, we are actually already talking with DEX-EOS, helping them plan for their growth. So if they, as we'll see in the next slide, they're growing very fast. And as and when they hit the next 1 million users and the next 10 million users, they will want to have a lot more infra available to them, perhaps one in North America, one in Asia, and one in Australia to provide very good responsiveness to their end users, and of course also ensure reliability and all of that they need for their own needs. So this is what I was referring to earlier on. In beta mode, they're already up to 800 accounts and have actually traded up to 5,200 EOS already. And this has been just a couple of days worth of trading. Interestingly, if you look at their order book right now, you'll see that there's at least another 20,000 EOS worth of transactions waiting to be also transacted. So there's a lot of demand right now for their service, and we are happy to be supporting them, and of course also helping them think about what it means when the number of accounts or the number of transactions goes all the way up to millions of users and millions of transactions all happening simultaneously. So that's that's what we do here at that's one of the aspects of what we do here at EOS Node One. We're very proud of it, and of course we are happy to support other DApps as well. We don't necessarily need any money discussion right up front, just being very clear on that. We are supporting the EOS ecosystem and very proud to be doing that. And we'd love to work with you. So please feel free to reach out. You can reach me at my email, or you can join our Telegram channels, and we'd be happy to engage with you. So with that, Orchid, I'm done with my presentation, and I'm happy to take any questions if there are any.
Yeah, thank you, Santosh. Actually, as we are running out of time, you have one question about DEX EOS on Ask a Question, and feel free to comment on the question.
Sure.
So yeah, thank you again for participating, and yeah, I'll see you around.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll see you around. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone. Have
Bye.
a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.